Rolling hard, wherever I be rolling hard. Trials and tribulations in my life got me rolling hard. Woke up, Lord bless me with another day. Eat shit, showered, and be on my way. Jumped in the two-door, Monte Carlo, solo, with a fofo on my way to get the dough, yo. If you don't work, then you don't eat. Don't be scared to walk through life when you got feet. You gotta run the race, it's a track meet. Can't trust nobody on the street, so you pack heat. Just got a phone call, my homie I grew up with dead. And last night my other partner had his dough kicked in by Fed. Cricket gospel to your hood and up your steps. Searching till they find your stash box where the gun is kept. I ain't never slept, some dream of fairy tale crime. The judge ain't giving no breaks, he giving jail time. I'ma put my trust and faith in the Lord. Never scarred on the boulevard, always rolling hard. I'm rolling hard. Rolling hard, rolling hard. Wherever I be rolling hard. Trials and tribulations in my life got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard. I believe in this truth. I'll never stop. Gun to my head, knife to my throat. I'll never stop. Ain't eat or drink nothing. I'll never drop. Rapping words, no beats like this. I'll never flop. Pick up your cross, follow your house shot. Living righteous now, that old wicked man had to die. I testify the white man, the devil, he a lie. He the judge sitting in court to make your mama cry. Christianity had me traumatized. I'll never water down the truth, I can't compromise. I love the Most High more than my own children. My sons and daughters, they hate me, just imagine the feeling. Pain hurts so deep, cut like a machete. Prepare your soul for temptation, you better get ready. I'ma put my trust and faith in the Lord. Never scored on the boulevard, always rolling hard. I'm rolling hard, rolling hard. Rolling hard. Wherever I be rolling hard. Trials and tribulations in my life got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard. If it ain't one thing, it's 5 or 6. That president gon' cause a race war through politics. The way they treat my Mexican brothers on the border. Isaiah 14 and 21 prepare slaughter. Babylon falling, everything gon' flip. Every day of my life I pray for rulership. I'ma put my trust and faith in the Lord. Never scarred on the boulevard, always rolling hard. I'm rolling hard, rolling hard. Rolling hard. Wherever I be rolling hard. Trials and tribulations in my life got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard, got me rolling hard.
Drink, got me some drink.
Hey, shalom, brother. You tore up?
What? Man, you better get on. Man, I'm trying to get in there, man. You won't let me in there.
You came to the right place, brother. Whoa.
Man, listen, I just want to drink my drink, man.
So what we got here?
Man, I'm trying to get in there and do some music, man.
Music? You do some music?
Me and my Tangeray.
The Tangeray? What you got?
All day. Look at here.
Oh, nah, man.
I do music in there, man.
Oh, really?
Yo.
I got something better than that Tangeray. What's your name, bro?
Oh, yeah.
I got something better than
You
that
ain't got nothing better than this.
Check me out.
What?
You ever heard of Israelites?
Yeah.
It's a King James Version of the Bible right here. You heard about that? You know you're an Israelite? No. I got something better than that Tangeray, brother, and that music. Check this out right here.
What's up,
You'll
bro?
find yourself right here in chapter Deuteronomy, man. Check that out. Find yourself right here in this Bible, man. You know you're a royalty, man, according to this Bible. You know what I'm saying? You ever heard of Yahweh Shah Mashiach? People call him Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's a black man, just like you, man.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? You are somebody, man. That Tangeray is all good, but this is much better. Man.
I'm glad. I mean, I'm tired of the lie, man. You telling me?
Tired of lies. We all tired of lies, brother. You know what I'm saying? You can start right here. I'm gonna let you hold this down, man. Give me some pound, man. You know what I'm saying? Tired of lies.
Yeah,
brother.
Yeah, man.
Tank
What you got? He got. I'm gonna get with him.
No,
What
I
you
got you.
got?
I got you. A little something.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Check this out. I'm gonna let you hold this down, brother. We got plenty more. You came to the right place, man. I should be carrying the command out of man. You always come if you need something, brother.
Man.
We're gonna get out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, brother.
Hold it down. Do your music, brother. You know what I'm saying?
Shalom,
Shalom, brother Christ, man.
Shalom, brother. Shalom. Thank you, brothers. Thank you, brothers.
All my soldiers on the streets that really get it, all the pain that you seen, I can feel it. I'm your brother, you my brother, we connected. Have mercy on us, Lord. Please protect us.
I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright.
I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, all I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord. All I know is hustle, 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 hustle. Hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. Ooh, Lord, yeah. 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 Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit. Hey, since day one they lied to us and we wasn't shit but slaves. But I found out what I found out, it was right there in my face. The preacher man, he lied. My mama, daddy didn't know, so I'm boxed in by lies. How the fuck I'm ever gonna grow? Hey, when the night falls and the lights out, you be reaching for some help. But when the real shit is bullshit, you be reaching for what's left. None of the lies gonna make it, you can read it for yourself. Here's the truth, you can't fake it, you need to find it for yourself. Nah, and nah, and nah. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. I know, I know, I know, I know, I know, I know. I've been lied to my whole life. Now I found truth. It's alright. hustle, 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 hustle hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Oh Lord, all I know is hustle, 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 hustle hard. All I know is hustle, hustle. Oh Lord, yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. Oh Lord, yeah. 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 Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Been lied to my whole life and I'm sick and tired of this shit. Somebody sick and tired of this shit.
Kukulkan says that his people were bought from captivity and that he parted the sea to bring his people out. Book of the Kukulkan, book of the Popovu, written in Quiche, brother.
That's what I'm asking. So this, like somehow the tribes came out here and went out
So now, you right there?
I told you it's in the Bible. You said that book doesn't exist.
Jaime, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can hear you coming in and out, Carnal.
Came to America. He already knew that. He already knew.
You right there, Carnal?
Come
Can
back
you hear
in.
me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Khan, I can hear you, Carnal.
Okay. I'm not breaking out. All right.
Breaking out a little bit.
Let me go out and come back in, no?
All right, no sweat, Carnal. I'm going to keep playing this video meantime.
Come, Lord Christ.
No Christ.
the football goal is way before.
Way before what?
The crucifixion.
The what?
The crucifixion.
He said people go to the time of the mind.
Yeah, at the time they wrote it, on the other side of the ocean.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Jesus wasn't getting it right. He wasn't there yet. That's right. You know why? Because the 10 tribes that came to America, right, came after the captivity in Assyria. The Assyrian captivity was the last place these people known as Israelites were held captive, here in Assyria. After Assyria, 10 of these tribes got together and left to a place. This is what the Bible tells you. That they were taken to a place where no man has ever dwelt before. The name of that place was known as
You hear me now?
That's Americas. Okay.
Khan, can you hear me?
Khan.
All right, Khan. All right, Khan, clap it up. Of course, we open the class up with Kazakya, some music, and Kazakya going in, battling a brother out there in the streets, you know what I mean? He was right there bringing out the heavy truth, about what was going down, the connection to being, to the Israelites and our indigenous ancestors. So, of course, let me, let me formally introduce us. Shalom, Israel. Jubile Raza, we're the ISUPK, started at 1 West 129th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. This is the Tuesday night Brotherhood class, of course, holding it down, of course, I myself, I'm Precinct Officer 500 Malakma, and then I got with me, young man Jaime, both of us straight out of Sur Califa, Southern California, and we're going to teach, Carnalismo tonight, or as, people in English know, Brotherhood. Because the way we're gonna wake up, right? The way we're gonna figure out how to get out of this captivity, how to get out of this oppression, is through carnalismo, man. Actions speak louder than words, Jaime. You know what I mean?
I know.
And the most revolutionary act you could do, right? The way to fight this oppressor is through carnalismo. And that's what we need, man. So we're going to start out, Jaime, if you could, Baba Kashak, go to the book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11, right? That's what we're going to start the class out with, that precept.
Romans
13:11, carnal. This is my favorite, one of my favorite precepts, man. I'm gonna say it repeatedly. You know, it might sound like a broken record, but I believe it's an important precept that we should, we should share.
Khan out of one Khan. The book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11. And that, knowing the times, that now it is high time to awaken out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believe.
Right. So in that knowing the time, right, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, for now is our salvation nearer than when we believed. Right. So that's letting us know, Carnal, that that's how we're gonna that now it's time to wake up. Now it's time to wake up and pay attention to what's going on. What happened today, Jaime?
About, Trump getting indicted?
Right. Trump getting indicted. How many felony counts did he get?
Ugh. I didn't catch it, but it was more than 15, no? Something
More
like
than
that.
15 counts. I think I was like somewhere about around 34 counts of felony counts, right? Let me
Huh?
ask you a question, Jaime. Who do you know that got more than 34 felony counts and is walking free in the earth right now? Who do you know got more than one felony count and is walking, is not never served a day in jail and never served a day in prison?
Khan. And mind you, not even handcuffed. Not even treated
Not
like
even handcuffed.
not even treated like
Right.
a not even roughed up, slapped up or something.
Right. That just comes to show you that we need to wake up and pay attention. You want to know why Donald Trump isn't serving a day in jail or a day in prison? One, he's a man in high power, right? But two,
Khan,
it's the fact that he's in his kingdom. This kingdom or this system, as we'll say for the people who don't know, right, is a system based in white supremacy. It's based on white supremacy, and when you hear that, of course, a lot of people think that white supremacy just means the KKK means racist, Nazis, burning crosses, burning what is it bombing black churches, things like that. But white supremacy is this system, a system that oppresses black and brown men and women, a system that locks up black and brown men and women, right? White supremacy is stop and
Khan,
frisk. White supremacy is our children in those cages. The Ukrainians getting that free pass, meanwhile our kids get locked up. White supremacy, right, is saying that braids are unprofessional, that you look like a thug wearing braids, or that you rock your Hebrew, as General Hyman calls it out. That white supremacy is getting chastised for speaking Spanish in America, you know, rocking your Mexican flag in America. That's white supremacy, carnal. That Christian church, that Catholic church that shows white Jesus, right? And then
that's
tells you're not allowed to be angry or upset about the oppression your people face, right? That to be called a hate group for being mad and calling out America and the so-called white man for the things that they do to us. That's white supremacy. You know what I mean? And people don't understand that. People have a problem with that, you know? But that's just the truth. That's the reality of it, man. And we need to understand that. We need to understand that, this system is not going to benefit us. That's why these oppressors go free. You over there marching and protesting and demanding that, we get treated equally, that we have, fair treatment for everybody. It's not going to happen here in America. I'm sorry to break it down, break your hearts, but that's just the reality of it. This system was never meant to benefit raza, was never meant to benefit black people, was never meant to benefit indigenous people. It's meant to keep us as slaves and them and the top as oppressors. ¿Sabes, Jaime? No sweat. We won't get you back. So that knowing the time that now it is high time to awake out of sleep, right? And the way we awake out of sleep, right, is through brotherhood, man. Brotherhood is the way we wake up by learning. That's the only way we are gonna come out of this captivity, man. is by getting close and serving the Most High.
Salaki, I don't want my camera's acting up.
No sweat, carnal. Like if you need to shut off the camera, you could do that. You know, but yeah, Jaime, you know that's the reality of it. So you know, let's go into it, man. As I said, now it is high time to wake out of sleep. And the way we wake up, as I stated, is one way, right? Is by Brotherhood, Carnalismo. So that's what happened today. What do we just also have, Jaime? What
Oh,
do
we just 50th
weekend?
for Passover.
Right.
And our Feast of Unleavened Bread. Bread just came. We just started the Feast of Unleavened Bread.
Right. 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 We celebrating, you know, eating tacos every day this week, man. You get tired of tacos already, carnal?
Sir, I just saw your post. I just got a little. I just got a little bit, variation from your post.
Right. Nobody thinks of those other dishes, right? You think of the sopes, the pupusas, the chilaquiles, you know, just ways to get creative with it. I mean, I'm seeing sisters post all types of recipes and things, you know. Hey, Josiah Knight, man. Hey, Shalom. Yabashin Sharakta. Salaki, what's it say? No sweat. Hey, Shalom to Olivia Arnold. Yahweh Shamar Allah Bashim Yahushai. I don't understand your question, Olivia. You're asking, is he now in the truth or is this just a video? This is a class we're doing live right now, you know, teaching Brotherhood. I mean, you're in the truth the moment you come in here, you get that Hebrew name, you do your 90 days, and you do this work of the Most High. You know what I mean? But yeah, coming in the truth is coming into the UPK, if that's what you mean. To Alicia Dominique, hey, Shalom, says Yahbashim Salaki, Yahweh Shamar Allah Bashim Yahweh Shai. But let's keep going, man. So let me continue playing that video real quick, man, of Kazak Yad going in, man.
Powerful priest.
Yeah, man. He's a powerful, mighty priest.
How did they have contact with the Mayans?
Who have contact with the Mayans?
The Jews that you're talking about.
The Mayans or the Jews, brother.
Wow.
The Mayans are those people.
You know this video? That's a big from the lamb. The Mayans used to sacrifice the lamb. Who else sacrificed lambs? What other culture sacrificed lambs?
But before they sacrificed it, they praised it. They praised the golden.
Let me break it down in his language because you don't know the lamb. You eat birria?
Yeah, I love birria.
Right there, right?
Yeah.
You can find
birria in town.
You can find the recipe of the birria in the book of Deuteronomy.
Wow! No mames.
Word for word. El consomé, las especies, la carne bien quemada dentro del horno. In the inside of the book of Deuteronomy, brother.
Man.
Let me tell you, when these labels come,
this cat blew my mind.
you know what I do? I take them to eat there because I know that that's what is found in the Bible.
Wow! Hey, please add me as a friend on
Word for
Facebook.
word, brother. Birria is in the Bible. Word for word.
I don't read the Bible.
I know. You know what you read, brother? You read Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley. El Aleister Crowley y ¿quién más? Jack Parson. Jack Parson. Esa es la gente que nosotros seguimos.
Please add me, man.
Seguimos los pinches gabachos instead of our own people, bro.
Thanks for being here, man.
Instead of our own culture.
You changed my life. You know that, right?
Said what?
Yeah, you changed my life.
That's right.
You did. Right now. You know when you feel them, you get chills? Look, you see these little bumps? That's feeling him.
Right or wrong, as long
He doesn't talk to you like directly. You feel it, bro.
Right.
I know that.
The truth is the truth, man. No matter what, man. And we God's chosen people. We're God's people. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native American Indians, we're God's chosen people. So what he's saying, like what you're talking about, is because you know in your spirit that it's true. And all you gotta do is just go research and find it out.
I'm gonna keep reading and researching, bro. I am.
Porque los mexicas, los chichimecas, los yaquis, all different tribes, carnal. How can I be mexica?
Carnal,
I'm not
pero
from there,
esos son cosas antiguas. Tenemos que desarrollarnos como seres. No podemos seguirnos clavados en el pedo de los aztecas, de los mayas, de los pinches jesuitas. Our necessities require ourselves to be in another position. We need to take another stand. We cannot rely on all these old symbols to move forward. This has not helped, has not worked.
Can you hear me, Jaime?
Khan.
So you heard what this brother's talking about, right? Like I played this video because it ties in with the topic tonight, right? He's talking about we can't rely on the old ways, on the ancient ways of the Mexica, of the indigenous ancestors, right? He kind of stumbled onto something, right? But here's where he went wrong. He thought in his head he should go follow Aleister Crowley, right? Which is what is I'm not too familiar with Aleister Crowley, just a little bit that Kazak dropped, right? But I believe he's a Satanist, right? Is that what he is, Jaime? Do you know anything about Aleister Crowley?
Khan, I think he mentored the guy that started the Church of Satan. He studied under him.
Anton LaVey?
Yeah, Khan. So
okay,
I think
Khan.
That was the roots right there. So pretty much, the heathens.
Right. So that's what I'm getting at. Like we'll follow everything else, right? We'll go be we'll get into brujeria. We'll think the ways of the ancestors is the way to go when nobody even knows what the ways of the ancestors is. You go by only thing we know about our indigenous ancestors right now is what the oppressor left behind or what the oppressor allows us to know. I'll drop a bombshell for a lot of people. The names of a lot of indigenous tribes, that's not their true names.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Khan. So she said the video in the beginning where brothers are already in the truth talking to a brother that wasn't. So I asked, is he in the truth now? Khan, that was a music video, sis. I got you. Yeah, that was a music video with Mighty Priest and Officer Zion Ya Allah, man. That brother, makes some, some fire music. I had to play that song. But yeah, sis. Angela Nuno. Hey, Shalom, Yahweh Shemar Allah Tabashim Yahweh Shai. Khan, you know what I'm saying, Jaime? That's the thing, right? That's the way this is how we're gonna wake up, because what the precepts say, it said, now is our salvation nearer than when we believe, right? Because a lot of people don't think Christ is coming back. You know what I mean? What the scriptures say, that he's gonna come like a thief in the night. But people don't understand, right? That he's gonna come back, he's gonna catch us slipping when we least expect it. That's when Christ is coming back. And the way he's gonna come back is by us serving him. And how do we serve him? How do we serve Christ? It's through Carnalismo. And you want the proof in that? Let's go to the book of John, the book of 1 John, chapter 3, verse 1.
Khan, the book of 1 John, chapter 3 and verse 1. Behold,
go ahead.
Behold, what manner of love the Father has.
Oh, Salakia, not 3 and 1, 5 and 1. Salakia.
Salakia.
Nah, you Tawaka. Now that's on me, man. So I got it right there.
Khan, the book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 1. Whosoever believeth that Jesus is the Christ is born of God. And everyone that believeth him, that beloveth him, also that is begotten of him.
Right. Now go to the next verse.
Verse 2. By this we know that we love Salakia. Verse 2. By this we know that we love the children of God, when we love God and keep his commandments.
Khan, now go to the next verse.
Verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
So for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous, right? So what does it mean to love the Most High and to serve Christ and believe in Christ? Is to keep those commandments. Now, how does that tie in with carnalismo? Keeping the commandments is carnalismo, right? It's always, when I go back to, thou should keeping those laws, statutes, and commandments translate to brotherhood, because you go back to the commandments. Let's go to them, Jaime. Let's go to the 10 commandments, the commandments that Christ was talking about. I think it's Exodus 20th chapter. You can start at verse 1.
Khan. The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 1. And God spake to all these, Salaki, and God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
So, Khan, let me stop you right there. Let me say this. So, verse 2 says, I am the Lord thy God, the Lord your God. He's not the Lord of everybody, right? He's not the Lord of white people, the Lord of Asians, of East Indians, of Africans, of the Spaniards, the conquistadors. He's not their God. But you know who he's the God of? He's the God of you, Raza. He's the God of the Aztecs. He's the God of the Mexica, the God of the Chichimeca, the God of la gente indígena, the Yaqui, the Nahua people, all these indigenous tribes, the Tenet tribe, which was known as the Navajo, which was the name put on them, the Olmecas, which is another name put on them, So that just comes to show you, right, that he's their God, but he's not the God of the conquistadors. No God would be the God of your oppressor. You know what I mean? The oppressor has his God. The other nations, people are gonna say I sound racist and I'm sounding, discriminatory towards those people I mentioned because I said he's not their God. Well, here's a newsflash: they have their God. They have their belief. White people have white Jesus. Asians have their gods, right? What they believe in, Buddha and all their religions they got, Taoism, Buddhism, all types of religions, right? Hinduism, right? With the East Indians, the Arabs got Allah. The Africans got their gods, the cow gods they worship. They go let a cow urinate on them, And then if you think I'm trying to be, discriminatory or racist, you go look it up in your Google machine. the pictures are right there. They got every other nation of people has their God and their belief system, but us, we don't. They have their set of rules, their culture. That's something we don't have as a people, man. Well, this is what your culture is. Keep going, carnal.
Verse 3, thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right, thou shalt have no other gods before me. Salakia, Jaime. Meaning you're not going to have no other God. You're not going to go worship the God of the so-called white man. You're not going to go worship white Jesus. You're not going to worship Yahweh, as they call him, right? That's what this is talking about. You want to know why our kids are locked up in cages? Because we done turned away from our God. We go worship white Jesus and Yahweh. The Spaniards were allowed to come here and oppress us, do the horrible things they did to us because we done turned away from our Lord, our God, right? And Rasa's gonna think that's harsh, but I'm saying that because it's the truth, man. It's the truth. And I'll say how our people turned away from serving the Lord. They turned away from serving the Lord by turning against one another. That's the way the conquistadors were able to take over, right? They were able to pit tribes against one another because tribes were not, getting along with each other. They were going to war with one another. They were already separated. They weren't united, right? when the law, statutes, and commandments in the Bible, when serving the Most High, the God of the Bible isn't uniting, all indigenous tribes uniting under Carnalismo, under Brotherhood, right? Keep going, Jaime.
Verse 4, thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that
so
is
thou
in the
shalt
water.
not, Salaki, let me stop you right there, Carnal. Let me just read this. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above, or that's in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth, right? And the reason for that is, right, because you're not supposed to worship anything but the Most High, to worship the Lord, right, to serve the Lord, right. We're going to go back. Translates to brotherhood. Now, what brotherhood are you going to believe in if you're worshiping nature, if you're worshiping Buddhism, if you're worshiping Allah? You're going to think you just got to follow the rituals that they teach instead of, not stealing from your brother, not plotting on his woman, not being that part of the alphabet community, right? That's another bombshell for the raza, right? That's for some reason today, right? We don't like hearing, but it's the truth. That two-spiritism, man, you're gonna come to find out our indigenous ancestors probably never believed in that. And if they did, that's part of why we got taken over by the conquistadors and got oppressed. Because that lifestyle, right, creates a separation amongst people, right? That lifestyle is the result of evil done unto people, right? It's the result of child molestation, of abuse, of trauma, right? That lifestyle is what happens when you want to live like this oppressor, right? Hey, David Coronado, hey, Shalom, Kanal, Yabashim Shabrakata. Sister Patarwana, hey, Shalom, Sis Yahweh Shamar, Alata Bashim Yawashai. So, we're going to, salute all these brothers and sisters, that come in, all these carnales y mujeres come in, and check, sign in, salute. No problem. But you know what I mean, Jaime? Back to that. I'm going to go to the next one.
Verse 5, thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For
right. Salaki, carnal. Thou shalt not bow thyself to them, nor serve them, right? Now, what do we say was serving the Lord, right? Or loving God?
Keeping the commandments.
Carnal, right? So we should not bow down and serve these other gods. And why? Because when you go, like I stated earlier, you go serve another god, you're no longer going to be practicing that brotherhood towards your brother. You want to know why there's a Latinos for Trump, Jaime? Why do you, let me ask you a question, Jaime. Why do you think there's, but why do you think we hate ourselves, carnal?
Because we rather try to have acceptance from them than from our own people.
But why do you think we want acceptance for them, carnal?
Because we don't love ourselves. We don't love our brothers.
That's true, carnal. That's true, carnal. But see if you can bring it home, carnal. There's a reason why, and it touches in with this precept. No sweat, carnal. You'll get. Just read the. I kind of broke it down, carnal. If not, I'll re-break it down. But go ahead, carnal.
Okay. It's that we want to honor them and kind of look up to them.
Right? But there's more. There's something I want you to say. See if you get it.
If we serve them,
how do we serve the oppressor, carnal? What do we do every Sunday?
Go to church.
And who do we worship in church every Sunday?
The white Jesus.
There you go, carnal. That's what this is talking about. Thou shalt not bow thyself to them nor serve them. Now, here's a trick. I shouldn't say a trick question, but here's a question that'll bring the point home. What religion do you think Latinos for Trump is? Majority of them are.
Believe the majority are Christian, sir.
Right. And who do you think they serve? What God?
The white Jesus.
God, there you go, carnal. That's what this is talking about, right? Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them nor serve them, for I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children into the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, right? Because let me say this, the so-called white man, he hates the Most High. That's why everything that they do today, the way they live today, is contrary to the way the Bible tells us to live, right? If we followed the ways of the Bible, right, we would be good right now. We wouldn't be suffering the way we're suffering. But we'd rather live like America. We'd rather live like our oppressors. Because we want to live like our oppressors is why you get street vendors, you know, that are getting murdered or that are getting unalived and assaulted. It's why you got, you know, black on black violence. It's why you got brown versus brown violence. Why you got broken homes, right, where women are whoring themselves out because we want to live like America. We want to serve and bow down to the gods of America. You know what I mean? And back then, you know, I hear this argument all the time, Kana, when you know I'm pushing this truth right from my people. That, you know, they always say, well, our indigenous ancestors never had any, you know, never followed the Bible, didn't believe in the God of the Bible. You know, that's, you know, indigenous erasure, this and that. They didn't believe in the concept of a God. And you know what? They might be right, Canal. They might be right because you know why? That's how would explain as to why this oppressor was able to come over here and do what he did. Because what they're really saying is that, you know, if you're saying that our indigenous ancestors didn't believe in the Bible or follow the God of the Bible, you're saying that they didn't believe in Carnalismo. You're saying that they didn't believe in being good towards one another. You know what I mean? And loving one another. And based on this oppressor's history, that seems the case, right? Because they, like I said, the conquistadors were able to come over here, and the way they defeated the Mexica was by using the tribes that they beefed with, the tribes that were their enemies, right? That their enemies sided with the conquistadors, and that's how they were able to take them down. You know what I mean? So that just comes to show you, right, the truth, how this Bible is the truth. The Bible is our story. As you know, as much as people don't want it to be, it is. It explains why these things are happening to us. But keep reading, Carnal.
Verse 6, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments.
So showing mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. See, you keep your commandments, you get mercy from the Most High, right? Which goes back, right? You showing mercy, the Lord will show mercy to you if you show mercy to your brother. If you show mercy to your carnal, right? Or to that sister.
God.
That's why, you know, we'll go into that precept later where it talks about forgiving your brother. You want to forgive your brother because that's how the Lord is going to forgive you, right? Keep reading, carnal.
Verse 7, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Verse 8.
So, keep reading, carnal. You keep going.
Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy.
So don't take the name. So like, if I could, Jaime, so like, if I could, so remember the Sabbath day, keep it holy, right? The Sabbath day for people that don't know, right? The Sabbath day is your day off. That comes to show how merciful the Lord is, that he put it in the law that you get a day off. Now, let me say this. If it were up to America, man, you get no days off, right, Jaime? The white man could, he'll work you 25/8 to be out there and make his money. That's why, you know, you ever notice why for those who work in the retail industry, you got to work your weekends, the holidays. Meanwhile, what do you think the owners of those companies do, right? Of those retail companies, they're out chilling somewhere on a yacht or vacationing somewhere. Meanwhile, everyone is working in their stores, making them money on the holidays. On the Sabbath that they would keep, they would force everyone else to go work it. You know, but go to the next verse. Oh, Salaki, let me say this real quick. Salaki, Jaime, let me say this. Because the previous one, verse 7, said, don't take the name of the Lord God in vain, right? Let me break this down real quick. Taking the Lord's name in vain isn't saying God damn, you know, or God this. Because God is not the Most High's name. taking the Lord's name is vain, as the men above me have broke it down, right, is saying the Lord's name without it needing to be said. The Lord's name is Yahweh. You know what I mean? So when you so an example of taking the Lord's name in vain is putting his name on a t-shirt, putting his name on shoes, putting his name on your headband. That's taking the Lord's name in vain, right? Like, because there's no reason to do that. You know what I mean? You're saying his name without it needing to be said. And then, and that's what fake Israelites do. That's the crazy part. But go ahead, Kana, you keep going.
Verse 9, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. Verse 10, but the seventh day but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates.
Right. But the seventh day, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. It is in it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within the gates. Basically saying everyone is supposed to have this day off, right? And this law right here, right, about the everyone having a day off, as we're gonna break it down, is this goes to people that own a business, the employer. Because it doesn't mean that on the Sabbath you're supposed to turn off the electricity and you're supposed to not do anything literally. It's just talking about your slavery or the people you work for. They're supposed to give you this day off, and that law applies to everyone. There's no one that is what is it the term that this law doesn't apply to them. You can work them forever if you want. Even in the kingdom, I'm pretty sure we're gonna have to give these oppressors, while they work in the fields, we got to give them a day off, according to the Lord. You know what I mean? So keep going, Kana.
Verse 11, for in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it.
Right. So hallowed it, right? He separated the seventh day from the other 6 days. Here's something, not to sidebar too quick, but this scripture also shows, right, how Adam and Eve are not the first people on the earth, right? Because he's saying in 6 days the Lord made the heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, right? Everything. But he didn't do any work on the seventh day. And in Genesis it says that on the seventh day the Lord rose up Adam from the dust. So when people try to say that God created Adam out of dust, literally you're contradicting the scripture. You're contradicting the Bible, because it says the Lord made man on the 6th day, him and her, male and female, and on the 7th day is when he rose up Adam. So it just comes to show. That. Debo Coronel, no sweat, carnal. That's why the best thing you can do, man, is keep tuning in the class. Khan, Sister Wada, that's the term I was looking for. There is no one exempt from these laws. Khan. And especially the Sabbath, the law of having a day off. No one is exempt. Like, you know what I mean? Even employers, right? That's what it means. Everyone, it gets a day off. There's not one person that's supposed to work 25/8. But according to America, right? America will have you work 25/8 if it could. There's some slaveries I've heard, that work and they don't give you a day off till after 14 days. You know what I mean, Jaime? Isn't that something?
Good night.
This oppressors will work you to death, man. They are working us to death, man. Keep going, carnal.
Verse 12. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
Honor Verse thy 13. Father and thy mother, right, Khan. Take care of your parents, right? Let me say this real quick, because this scripture says honor thy father and thy mother. It means this, man, like take care of your mother and father, because without them, that you wouldn't be here today. You know what I mean? You wouldn't, exist. And of course, our parents are in the world. They, they might, not been there, been the best mother and best father, but still, man, honor them. We'll take care of them when the time comes. Don't speak ill of them. If for whatever they did, because remember, they're the reason why you're here. They're part of the reason why you're here today, right? In today's world, right? They push this hatred towards your father. Like a lot of cats that grew up without their father, like will speak ill of him, and call him out, call him a deadbeat, and speak ill about their mother. Call her a whore, or all types of horrible things. Not realizing they're in the world and that we serve a merciful God. Now, I'm not saying right to 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 say it's okay all the evil things they've done, but you don't want to curse them, or wish any harm to them. Wish that they die and things like just the messed up things that people who grew up without their fathers say. They'll say f that man, he's not my father, he's a piece of you. You know how it goes, I mean. So Khan, you just remember that. So that's kind of what that's what Exodus 20 and 12 is touching on. All right, you could read the next one.
Verse 13, thou shalt not kill. Verse 14.
Now let me Salaki, if I could, real quick. Exodus 20 and 13, right? Thou shalt not kill. It really means thou shalt not murder, right? Let me clear this out. You have the right to defend yourself, right? David had to kill a Goliath. Israelites had to go to war. You're allowed to defend yourself. It doesn't mean, this scripture doesn't mean that you're supposed to be right there and allow yourself to be the punching bag and the target for your oppressor, for your enemy, right? By all means, you're required to defend yourself. So just remember that, Rasa. You don't gotta be all, allow this oppressor to put his hands on you. You can defend yourself. It's your Second Amendment right to defend yourself, right? That's why the oppressor is, goes and buys all these arms and whatnot. It's funny when it comes to them, Jaime, they're all for defending themselves, but when it comes to you, you got to be peaceful. You got to be a pacifist. You can't be,
anything.
You can't say anything. You can't do anything, right? You can't even block their punch. Otherwise, they just beat you senseless and murder you. This is what the police do, right? If you block a punch from a police officer, right? Don't they charge you with assaulting a police officer? That's ain't that something?
That's right.
So you can't even block the punch he's throwing at you when he's trying to arrest you. When you don't want him to take you away, he and you try to get him off you. That's assaulting a police officer.
And if they don't do that, it's in the lightest, it's resisting arrest.
Right, resisting arrest, right? Because you're not allowing them to arrest you to take you away. Now, let me do a disclaimer real quick, man, because in no way, shape, or form am I saying to go harm police or to go fight with the police officers. Like you're better off just just go to jail, man, and fight it in court. We're not telling people to go, and attack police officers or do anything. Don't just take, you know what I mean? Just get arrested, go to jail, get processed, have your day in court and fight it. Live to fight it in court, man. Because they're just gonna beat you senseless and murder you, unalive you, But yeah, Kanan. Keep going, Kanan.
Verse 14, thou shalt not commit adultery.
Thou shalt not commit, in Salak, Kanan, if I could real quick. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Now, how do we say waking up was keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, which translates to brotherhood? Thou shalt not commit adultery. Right now, let me explain this. Adultery, right, is sleeping with another man's wife, and that's the problem in our in our society, right? In the ghettos and the barrios, on the reservation, our people are quick to go sleep with another man's wife. You want to know why those wars exist today? Those gang wars. Chances are it has to do with adultery. You want to know why? Oh, what happened? You there, Jaime?
Khan.
Okay, Khan. I thought my computer froze. But no, like why you think those tribes were probably beefing with each other back then? It probably had to
Probably
do
for a
something with
girl.
adultery. Right. It probably went back to it had to do with fighting over a woman. You know what
Khan.
I mean? So that's just the reality of it, carnal. Like our people don't realize that, man. That if you would keep this commandment, you know what I mean? Like you would see the issues that plague us end overnight. It's in our music, in movies, man. You see how this oppressor like believes in stealing your woman. You got movies like what, like The Wedding Singer, right? Has you rooting for the adulterer, right? You go over there trying to steal another man's woman. Go to hood movies, there's adultery going on in there. Rap music always talks about taking your woman,
Khan.
and that's our problem, man. We do that. We're quick to go sleep with another man's woman and brag about it, and like it's some kind of code of honor to do that. But this is why we suffer, man. This is why there's so much black on black violence, black on brown violence, brown versus black violence over adultery, man. When if carnalismo is not sleeping with your carnal's woman, man, because that's your carnal. You would never want him to sleep with your woman. So why would you do that to him? How do you think you're gonna be united against this oppressor if you're sleeping with that man's woman? You know what I mean, Jaime? So that's what we need to realize, man. But you keep reading, carnal.
Verse 15. Thou shalt not steal.
Thou shalt not steal. That one too, man. Like we steal from one another. That's probably another reason why tribes were beefing with one another, because they were stealing from one another, right? The conquistadors probably told them like, "Hey man, we're gonna get your land back. We're gonna get your women back. We're gonna make everything right if you just help us take them down." Because the tribes probably did something wrong to one another. They probably stole from one another. They probably slept. You know what I mean? So that right there comes to show you, how we lost, for lack of a better term. Not to say that this oppressor is morally superior than us, because they believe in the same thing. But what happened to us is that the Lord was not with us. The moment we stopped keeping the commandments, the moment we turned on one another, God was no longer with us. And God was no longer with us to protect us. Because let me say this. If we were keeping the commandments, Jaime, if the Mayas, the Mexica, the Incas, all the indigenous nations were keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, the Lord would have been with them. And the Lord would have easily put a storm to sink the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria. The Lord would have made sure no nation of people would have ever came to this land and discovered, the lands here. The Lord would have made sure Christopher Columbus died. Go ahead, carnal. Oh, got unalive, Salak. Go ahead, carnal.
Sir, if I may, even if they would have made it through the sea, we would have probably had slaves as soon as they touched down. As soon as they even lifted up a finger against us, we would have rose up and have them in slavery instead of the other way around.
Carnal. We would have known not to be all soft and passive with them, right? We would have known they're our enemy. See, let me say this, carnal. The story goes, right, that the Mayas, right? Was it the Mayas or the Mexicas, right? Just say the indigenous people, they discovered, Christopher Columbus, and they welcomed him in because of a vision, right? That a white serpent was gonna come and land right there, right? And because now I don't know how true that story is, right? That's what we're taught, right? But if that's the case, that shows how we're worshiping another god. You mean to tell me that Christopher Columbus is Kukulkan? And Kukulkan was gonna come over here? Now that's what they say. I don't know what the true story is, right? But that's what's allegedly the vision, the story. But I can tell you this, right? The fact that the conquistadors were able to pit tribes against one another is the proof that we weren't keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And that's how they were able to win. The same thing here in this side, with the indigenous nations, right? The tribes had rival tribes. The colonists, as they're called, did the same thing. That's how they do it. That's how they take over and steal from. They're not technologically superior to us. They're not morally superior to us. They're not, stronger than us. The only thing is that God is not with us. The Most High is not with us because we're not with each other. We're not being brothers and sisters to one another. We're not showing love to one another, right? That's our problem. That's why we're suffering. Our kids are in those cages because the fact that you got, norteños and sureños murdering each other. Our kids are in those cages because you got paisas that hate on Chicanos. You got Chicanos that hate on paisas. You got Mexicanos that hate Salvadoreños. You got Salvadoreños that hate Mexicanos. You know what I mean? That's why this is happening to us. It's no mysticism to it. There's no magic to it. All y'all want to believe in brujeria and crystals and worshiping nature. You know what I mean? That you talk to the land and this and that. You know why? Because the land doesn't tell you that it's wrong to sleep with your brother's woman. The land doesn't tell you that it's wrong to get high. And really, it's like this. You're not talking to the land. You're talking to yourself. You're not serving brujeria. You're serving yourself. You're a jealous woman that wants to be a god because you want to do whatever you want, because you'll be damned if you let your husband, tell you what to do. Not knowing that your husband is trying to guide you the right way out of love for you. That's what that whole goddess, the diosas, the brujeria, all that is why our kids are in those cages. Because all that belief system teaches you to hate your carnal, teaches you to hate your hermana, teaches you to hate your brother and sister and justify it, That's the truth that people don't want to hear, Jaime. They get offended when we say that, Most High in Christ is, like that's why the moment norteños and sureños come together as carnales, drop the gang culture, drop the believing in the white Jesus and the Catholic Church and the Virgin Mary and all that, we'll get justice, man. This will end for us. It's that simple, man. That's why the commandments earlier said, right? And it's not grievous. It's not hard. It's not rocket science, man. That's why all these other nations are ahead over us, because they're united as a people, man. Now, they don't have the law, statutes, and commandments, but one thing they do have is unity as a people.
God.
And that's what we need to have, man. You want to know how messed up we are, Jaime? I'm going to say this. How messed up we are as a people, how lost we are. The fact that people don't want to come in here. Don't want to come in the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana.
That's right.
They get mad and offended when we say we're the only home of the truth. Because we are, man. We are the only home of the truth because we truly keep Carnalismo. We teach it. We live it. We have to breathe it. We have to. Otherwise, we'll fail, man. And that's why you have all these things happening to all these other groups outside, right? Because there's no brotherhood. There's no, council. There's no, chain of command where you don't have structure, which is based in brotherhood.
If I may, sir.
Go ahead, Carnal.
That's why in the first disagreement that they have, F this, I'm going to this other camp, or maybe they'll treat me better over here, or whatever.
Right.
These guys, that gives them ease to just move around as they please. Which is in here,
Carnal.
you have to humble yourself and actually follow orders, and if
Right.
you follow orders, you're gonna be um, you're gonna be upheld. You're gonna be standing on the truth and not be moved like in those other Israelite camps.
Carnal. That shows the lack of brotherhood. The fact that you got an issue with your brother in that camp, and then you leave and go form your own group. The fact that so many fake Israelite groups exist is the proof of the lack of brotherhood, man. So that just shows it. That's evident not just in fake Israelite camps, but in our community, carnal. Like I said, the Latinos for Trump, the Norteños and Sureños, the different barrios, the different gangs, and then all the war, all the beefing, because there's no going to him and him alone. There's no loving your brother as yourself. Brotherhood, carnalismo, is structure, and that's what we need. Go ahead and go to the next precept, carnal.
That's right. Verse 16, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor.
God, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You should not lie on your brother. Not lie, sis, yeah, because it's all about themselves and not the Most High in the law. Sis, that's the problem. You have to, what the sister Patarana said right now is heavy, because that's our problem, man. That's what when you're a selfish person, you're not serving the Lord. To serve the Lord means to not be selfish. You have to think about someone other than yourself. You know what I mean? You have to think about your nation. And that's what other nations do, man. They think about their nation before themselves. That's how we're gonna get these nations to respect us. Not by just begging for their love, but for us coming together with our own. You know what I mean? That's how we turn back to God. Keep reading, Jaime. And so like if I could or not. Thou shalt stop lying on one another, which goes on, like I said, outside the UPK. This is what goes on out there, man. You lie on your brother. You try to take his woman. You'll worship another God. You'll do whatever you want to do. And why do people lie? Let's go into it, right? Because this is the brotherhood class. Why do you think people lie on one another, Jaime?
I think basically because they I think it's jealousy. I think it's just hating
That's
that
true.
they can't get above that person, or that person's above them, or it's he has better things, or they any little reason that that they see wrong or something like that, or that they feel that they're lacking in their life and the other person has it. I mean, that's pretty much gives.
Orale. If I could, so like, and I'm gonna say this: they lie on one another because they don't have brotherhood, because they're selfish. A selfish person spreads lies about people. A selfish person, right, will be jealous and hate on one another. A hater spreads lies, right? Like you said, and that's the problem with us, right? That's why people want to say the Bible is so evil. It's the white man's book, and it was used to harm our ancestors. You mean to tell me to telling you to not lie on your brother and sister is evil and harmless? So if you tell me this is wrong to follow this, what you're telling me is that you go lie on people. You go try and take another man's woman. You go and murder your brother. So you go and unalive your brother. You know what I mean? Salakia. You know? That's what you mean to tell me when you try to come against me. And Khan said, she said, because they don't want anyone to know who they really are. Right. And Khan, keep going, Carnal.
Verse 17. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Right. So anything that belongs to your brother, right? Your neighbor, like as we said, your neighbor's your carnal. You should not want anything that's your carnal's, right? That belongs to him. Right. And especially that ties in back with thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not, bear false witness, thou shalt not, commit adultery. You shouldn't want your carnal's woman. And once again, you're telling me this is evil? This is black supremacy? This is the equivalent to the KKK? What we teach? This is the hate group, Hyman. Telling so-called blacks, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans to not covet their neighbor's house. Right? Telling you not to go flocking, not to go bust licks. That's black supremacy. That's the equivalent of being in the KKK. And that shows you the true nature of this oppressor. It shows you the true nature of what this oppressor wants you to do, Raza. They want you to be out there unaliving people. They want you to be out there dealing drugs. They want you to be out there breaking into houses, committing robberies. That's what they want. And if you don't want to do those things and be righteous, they consider you in a hate group. They consider you in a cult. Isn't that something, Carnal?
Khan.
Let's keep going, Carnal.
Verse 18. And all the people saw the thunderings and the lightnings and the noise of the trumpet and the mountain smoke. And when the people saw it, they removed and stood afar off. Verse 19. And they said unto Moses, Speak thou with us, and we will hear, but let not God speak with us, lest we die.
Right. If I could, Carnal, this kills the whole lie that you have a personal relationship with God. There's no such thing as a personal relationship with God. The Most High does not know you. And let me say this. You're saying you have a personal relationship with God. You're really saying you have a personal relationship with yourself. All those thoughts that come into your mind, that's not God talking to you. That's you talking to you. That's your lust, your desires, your flesh. That's what that is. You know what I mean? Your emotions. That's you. God doesn't know you. God doesn't talk to you. When people try to have a personal relationship with God, they got frightened. And they told Moses to go speak with us. The Lord always deals with the priests and prophets of the Lord, right? And we go and tell you what to do, Now, don't nobody take that out of context when I'm saying, try to think I'm over here saying God is talking to me directly. I'm giving you a message. No. What I'm saying is, right? Go ahead, Kanan.
So, like you, sir, if I may, let me understand this. So, when they say God could only, speak through Moses, it's saying that he's speaking through the law, statutes, and commandments, or is it just when Moses was alive that he spoke to us?
Well, let me say this: when Moses was alive, right there in time, an angel spoke with Moses. And gave Moses the message to go give the children of Israel. You know what I mean? So today, right, in today's time, through us, right, like we follow the orders from the men above us, right? And of course, I'll be careful how I say this, right, because I don't want to give, the wrong information. Now, this is actually probably something I better go ask and get clarity on before I fully answer that, Kanan. But the whole point is, right, that there's no personal relationship with God. And that the way you learn, right, that you learn about who God is and you learn how to walk in front is to learn from the priests and prophets of the Lord, right? And the priests and prophets of the Lord, right, are in the ISUPK. And as you said, carnal, the way that's demonstrated is because we keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, right? In a sense, you can say that that's how the Lord speaks to us right now, because we read we're properly taught the Bible and we see the message that's in there, right? But of course, it's broken down, right? And of course, like I said, I gotta go ask and get clarity on it, because I myself don't know the answer to that yet. But following those law, statutes, and commandments, right? That's the whole key.
Khan, Khan.
But carnal, that that is, but the whole point is there's no such thing as a personal relationship with God. I can't go to God and I can't say I haven't God talk to me, because that's not God talking. God is not going to talk to me. You know what I mean? God doesn't know who I am. But what will speak something, right? What will show that I serve the Lord, right, is in me keeping those laws, statutes, and commandments, and me not stealing from my brother, and me not sleeping with my brother's woman, and me not wanting my brother's woman. That's how you serve the Lord. That's more of the point, carnal. You know what I mean?
Khan.
But orale, carnal, let's go to the next one.
Verse 20, and Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your face. Salakia, before your faces, that ye sin not.
Khan.
Verse 21.
So if I could, right, that's the proof right there, right? Like, you seen the power of the Most High, you should fear the Lord, right? Because there's a precept that says, if you could, can I go to the one that says to fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I'll go there with you. Let me see which one that is. Proverbs 9 and 10. If you could, can I go to Proverbs 9 and 10. And then we'll come back to this one.
Khan. Proverbs chapter 9, verse 10. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding.
Khan. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. The knowledge of the separate is understanding, right? So it comes back to it, Kana, like understanding what these scriptures are saying is showing how the Lord is, the Lord is with you, right? How the Lord chose, you could say the Lord chose you, is no is understanding, right? But also be listening to the men of the Lord, right? Because not everyone can understand this, carnal. You know what I mean? Not everyone will hear this. So that's how you know, right? The scripture says, Christ says it in his own words, right? For you did not choose me, I chose you. So if you're hearing what we're saying, right, and you understand it, the Lord, Christ chose you, carnal. Because all the things that are taught and said, right, shows who the Lord is with, who the Lord chose. Lord is with the UPK, right? With Commanding General Yana. So the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding, right? Which goes back. What does that all translate to? Because you fear the Lord and you're wise, you keep those laws, statutes, and commandments, and you understand them. You understand what they're saying. You understand the point, right? The point of it is brotherhood and sisterhood. And then knowing that is how you get your nation organized. Is how you get. That's why all these other nations, that's why they are how they are, because they have that brotherhood, and they don't even have the truth. Huh? They don't. Like I said, they're not the chosen people. But look at how they're all over us. They get over us. Let's go back to Exodus 20th chapter. We're 20 and 19, right?
Khan. And they said unto Moses, speak thou with us, and we will hear. But let not God speak with us, lest we die.
Khan, keep going, Khan.
Verse 20, and Moses said unto the people, fear not, for God is come to prove you, and that his fear may be before your face, that ye sin not. Verse
Go
21.
ahead, next one.
And the people stood afar off, and Moses drew near unto the thick darkness where God was. Verse 22. And the Lord said unto Moses, Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, ye have seen that I have talked with you from heaven. Verse 23. Ye shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall ye make unto you gods of gold. Verse 24.
Carnal. So if I could, Jaime. So, he's saying that he spoke to his people through Moses, right? And he's saying, "You shall not make with me gods of silver, neither shall you make unto you gods of gold." You know why? Like that, you're kind of getting the context as to why. Because if you're making that god of silver and that god of gold, you're gonna forget about the chain of command. You're gonna try to bypass, the men above you and talk to yourself basically and do whatever you want instead of doing what God tells you to do. That's the more of the point, right? That's what it is, right? And in turn, with you doing what you want to do, you're gonna do wickedness unto your brothers and sisters. You're gonna go steal. You're gonna go commit adultery. You're gonna go unalive your brother. You're gonna be unbrotherly, unsisterly when you do these things. That's the point of it. You know what I mean? So that's what's heavy, carnal.
Carnal one con.
Is that it, or is there more?
Verse 24. An altar of earth thou shalt make unto me, and shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen, in all places where I record my name.
Right, where I record my name, I will come unto thee,
and I will bless thee.
Verse 25. Salakia. So, in the previous precept it said, you shall not make gods of gold and of silver, right? And now it's saying, an altar of earth shalt thou make unto me, and thou shalt sacrifice thereon thy burnt offerings and thy peace offerings, thy sheep and thine oxen. In all places where I record my name, I will come unto thee, and I will bless thee. So where the Lord chooses, to record his name, right, as the scripture says, that's where he will come and he will bless thee. Basically, there's only one way to serve the Lord, right? And that was the point. When you're making those gods of gold and those gods of silver, you're trying to find another way to serve the Lord, which is really to serve yourself. You're not doing what God said. That's what people kind of, overlook, what Christians overlook, what everyone outside the truth overlook. You want to do things your way. You want to live how you want to live and do what you want to do. When in reality, you're doing what Satan wants you to do, what these other nations want you to do. You're never. Let me lay this out, carnal. You're never ever doing what you want to do. What you're doing is you're always doing what someone tells you to do. Whether you're doing it consciously or unconsciously, you're doing what someone else tells you to do. So you're better off doing what the Lord tells you to do. That's the point, right? That's how you serve God. That's how you're in brotherhood. So that's what we need to understand. We can't do things. There's only one way to do things. That's the right way, and not your way. Follow orders more importantly than anything, right? That's what the Lord is basically showing us, right? What's the next precept?
Verse 25. And thou wilt make me an altar of stone, thou shalt not build it of hewed stone, for if thou lift up thy tool upon it, thou hast polluted it. Verse 26. Neither shalt thou go up by steps unto mine altar, that thy nakedness be not discovered thereon.
Kind. This is more of like how you should not approach the altar, and of course saying that thy nakedness not be discovered thereon. So your shame.
Con.
So kind, I think that's it for that one. So with that, we're showing you how to keep those, what the law, statutes, and commandments are, right? And this is just like everything. The whole point of it, right, is brotherhood, is following orders, is doing things the right way, not doing what you want to do and how you want to live, right? Now let's go back. Now let's go back to 1 John 5:5-3 again.
The book of 1 John, chapter 5, verse 3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous.
Right. So we just went over what the commandments are, right? And that's not how, you know what I mean? Like people try to make it seem like it's impossible, like it's something evil to do. And that's the problem, man. Like basically you're saying it's evil to not, to love your brother as yourself. You're saying it's evil to steal and want what your brother has, right? And that it's evil to love God, and that, because that comes to show this oppressor is against the Lord. Now, if you could, now go to the book of, I believe it's John. I don't. Let me look it up real quick. What sin is? Go to 1 John 3:4.
Khan, the book of 1 John, chapter 3, and verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin transgresseth also the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
Right. So we know that the law is keeping the commandments. Now we know what sin is. Sin is not keeping the commandments, breaking the commandments, right? Because the commandments are the law. Right? So so when you steal from your brother, you're committing sin. When you unalive your brother, you're committing sin. When you're committing adultery, you're committing sin. Because the law tells you not to do those things. And thus that's what sin is, right? And that's what the Christian church doesn't teach you. The Christian church teaches you that sin is sin is something, they teach you that it's not keeping the commandments. They try to, say we're all born in sin, and Christ died so that we have a green light to sin, to do whatever we want. But they don't teach you that, we're supposed to still keep those laws, statutes, and commandments. And that's the problem, Jaime. Because once again, it's all about serving yourself. When you committed those things, when you broke the law, you were serving you. Once again, man, selfishness is our problem, man. It's why we live the way we live. It's why these things happen. Because we became selfish like this oppressor. So, let me put this charger in real quick. All right. If you could go to the book of 1 John chapter 4, verse 20. I'm gonna go there with you.
4 verse 20.
Khan.
This is the book of John, chapter 1, Salakia. This is the book of John, chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
Khan. Now, I'm gonna show something, Khan. This is what it looks like not loving God. You know what I mean? Because what the scripture just say, everyone says they love God, right? Now I'm gonna show you what not loving God looks like. Let me see. Just give me a second. Bear with me, Raza.
Brotherhood is physically assaulted by a crazed woman, upset that her burrito order was taking too long. The vendor says the woman became enraged when she was told that she would have to wait.
KTLA's Carlos Saucedo live in downtown LA with more on the attack and the growing number of vendors becoming targets of violence. Carlos.
Micah and Sherry, good evening. We've learned that the suspect seen in that video has been arrested, the victim identifying her to police. Now, tonight I spoke with the victim who tells me she is still traumatized over the attack.
Hey.
That's what not loving your brother as yourself looks like, carnal. That's what not loving God looks like. What the precepts say? Read it again, Jaime.
The book of John, chapter 4, verse 20. If a man say, I love God, and hated his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
Right. So let me ask you this, carnal, real quick. What religion do you think that sister is in the video?
Salakia, Christian, sir.
A vicious attack against a taco stand worker Saturday afternoon on Normandy and Slauson Avenues in South LA caught on camera.
Pero sí les digo que siento así como que trajera aquí como el nervio.
Berta Zuniga of East LA was on the receiving end of the physical assault. She tells me in Spanish that the woman was berating workers for not making her burrito fast enough. She then began tossing out items, even spitting on food.
That's her problem.
A ese momento, ¿usted qué pensaba?
Pues no sabía qué hacer.
Berta says she didn't know what to do after the suspect began chasing after her.
The video doesn't show, but she chased her for about 10 minutes around the car. She kept trying to run away from her. From South LA, I'm here at South.
Jimmy Suarez is an LA foodie influencer standing up for those often left voiceless.
Street vendors are vulnerable. They're out on the streets. They got no protection. There's nobody there to watch over them. Most of their transactions are cash, so they're easy targets for a lot of these hoodlums out there.
Berta has been working at South Taco Stand for 8 years. This is not the first time the stand has been targeted. After the attack, she is finding the courage to speak out.
Uno no pensó que fuera a pasar por todo.
Emocionada.
Emocionada, nerviosa.
She gets emotional, describing the amount of support she is receiving. The woman left, destroying much of the taco stand, but the community has rallied behind Berta and other street vendors.
Con. So there's an example of brotherhood and sisterhood right there as well, because of course the sister attacking her, that shows the lack of brotherhood and sisterhood, but the community coming back to sister, that's brotherhood and sisterhood. You know what I mean, Jaime?
Con.
But that's an example. Here's another example of not loving God. You know, so people don't want to make it sound one-sided, but this is an old story I want to share. Because I got the old story right here.
The red rage of teenage blood gang members explodes on their rivals. And an annual dance recital turns into a schoolyard gang battle at Centennial High in Compton.
Out of the 16 years that I've been, teaching, in the Compton School District. This is the worst that I've ever seen it.
Gang tensions like this are no stranger to Compton. In fact,
This is my Compton map.
USC researcher Alex Alonso, who has already mapped out all black gang territory in LA County, says Compton leads the list.
But Compton, for a city, of its size, having 36 black gangs, represented the highest percent gang turf of any city on the list.
His research shows black gangs claim 54% of the territory in Compton.
I wonder what CHS stands for.
And unlike many desk-bound academics, Alonso's studies take him out to the streets.
Whenever you see abandoned homes, man, that's a sign of drama and issues going on in the community.
But more than abandoned homes, Alonso's research depends on another kind of sign. It's called graffiti, scribbled on walls, curbs, and fence poles. Graffiti marks territory.
This is a very territorial example of graffiti because of the arrow. When you see the arrow pointing down, you know that you're in that turf of that gang.
For each sign of graffiti, he notes the intersection or the street where he sees it.
And continue doing that until I get enough information to determine its gang turf.
And not only does graffiti tell him where a certain gang is located, but what's going on there.
This gang right here at CVTKS, they don't get along with CV70. I've seen them crossing each other out.
He is constantly snapping photos. And
so you're seeing all the hoods beef with one another, right? Of course, the news story. Go ahead, Canal. You from you from there, right?
My whole neighborhood, yeah. That's on my whole.
Right, it's your
hometown. Centennial is where I used to go. Yeah, I graduated from that school.
God, that's crazy, Canal. I forgot about that, but more importantly, like you see how it started out, right? And of course, I'm stumbling onto something here real quick. But go ahead, Jaime. Like it's just crazy, like how.
Yeah, if I may, yeah, like on that first and on the beginning of that, it was pretty much every Friday was a racial fight or war between Mexicans and blacks. That was right, and that just brought back so many memories, sir, because it's it's the truth. That's not lacking brotherhood, being the same people and and not expecting to go to school and have a fight every Friday. It just brought back memories. But yeah, that's lack of brotherhood right there.
No sweat. We're gonna keep continuing with the story, Carnal.
And rolling off video, documenting what he knows and never hesitating to ask the locals about what he doesn't know.
I got a question for you fellas. What does the CHS and CV70 mean?
Having already mapped all the black gangs in LA County, Alonso, who is working on his PhD, has now set out to map all the Latino gangs in LA County. And what he is finding here in Compton is disturbing. And it says the gang war is also a race war.
Well, let me run it back real quick.
Is disturbing.
So that tagging says, right? What that graffiti says is FN words. That right there, when it shows the lack of the love for the Most High, right? So from both sides, from when Mexicans hate black people, they don't love God. When black people hate Mexicans, they don't love God. Because let me ask this question: what religion you think those Sureños are? What religion you think those Crips and Pyrus are?
Different denomination of Christians, sir.
Right, carnal. They're all Christian. Well, you want to say, razas into not Christian, they're Catholic. It's the same thing. You all believe in a white God. And that's what happens when you serve a white God. You'll go assault street vendors. You'll go trip on a black person. You'll go trip on a Mexican person and murder, unalive them. You'll jump them. You know what I mean? Because they rep a different street corner, because you think they're a different race. You'll think they're a different race. You'll think you're two separate races of people when you serve a white God. When you lack And serving that white God translates to the lack of brotherhood and sisterhood for one. Because at the same time, there's this race war going on, right? I'm a call it this, Jaime. This is internalized racism. The black versus brown beef, right? The brown versus black beef, that's internalized racism. Street vendors getting assaulted, that's internalized racism. Because we hate our own because we don't serve our God. What did 1 John 4:20 say? It says, if a man say, I love God and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother who he hath seen, right? These vatos and these Crips and Bloods, they see each other every day, but they hate one another. How can they say they love God who they have not seen? Right?
Come.
Because they're Christians, and their demonstration that they don't love God is that the fact that they're Christians. Let's keep playing this.
And it says the gang war is also a race war. Here, FTP stands for Fruittown Pyrus, a black blood gang. It's crossed out, meaning death. CKBK stands for Crip Killers and Blood Killers. TF represents Tortilla Flats, a Mexican gang sending this message to blacks.
I show my homeboy this stuff. He doesn't believe that it's going on.
But Luis Lozano believes what's going on. He says his father was executed 3 months ago by Fruittown Pyru Bloods.
And shot him cold blood, they blew his head off, man. That's not right, man.
51-year-old Lomito Lozano was just an honest, hard-working Mexican immigrant with 5 children. His wife says Lomito cherished his family. He'd come to pick up this stalled camper just a few blocks from the family home when the Pyrus just shot him down.
You never know. You see a black young guy, Mexican. You don't know if he's pissed at you or
you don't know nothing. As I say, innocent people always die.
And the day after Lomito Lozano was murdered, there was retaliation. Another innocent victim ended up dead. This time, a car was shot up in a Fruittown Blood neighborhood. A Mexican died, so a black had to die.
The reality is that this particular vehicle was targeted. It was shot numerous times by assault weapons.
21-year-old Lakeisha Darden, who was in town for a few days visiting friends, made the mistake of accepting a ride from some youths associated with Fruittown Pyrus. Battered with bullets, she died in the back seat. Police have arrested these 2 Tortilla Flats gangsters for the murder. A third suspect, Eric Castillo, known as Tweety, is still on the run. People like Luis Lozano have had enough of the gang racial tension.
It don't matter if they're black, Mexican, whatever, I just need, I just want all this to stop, all this innocent killing.
Meanwhile, researcher Alex Alonso keeps running into signs that it's not going to stop. And it bothers him too.
Because it's about race. It's racial differences. It's not even about gangbanging.
So when he sees it,
oh, this is a great shot right here.
He continues to document what he calls the biggest little secret going on in the streets now.
Racial fighting that's going on between the Mexican gangs and the black gangs in Compton.
And not just in Compton.
Yeah, I think it's wrong.
Compton police sources tell us there have been more than a dozen similar killings so far this year. Alonso hopes his research can bring attention to the problem. The people will then acknowledge.
Welcome to
StreetGangs.com. So that was just an example, Carnal, you know what I mean, of what happens, you know what I mean, when what it means, what 1 John 4:20, when you don't follow that, demonstrates, right, what it's talking about. And because of that is why we suffer this, Carnal. Right? What just happened, man? We got Donald Trump who got indicted, right? And now let me say this, man. You had BRICS. What do you think is coming in the future, Carnal?
Man, I think they're trying to take over the money system, and they're trying to make a power play so that U.S. is left out in the cold. And, U.S. is not going to have that, so they're going to have to make war to prevent that.
Let me see. Let me find the story on here real quick, because I want to go into that whole BRICS thing. We're a little over the time, but we're going to just
Khan, they were, if I may, sir, they were talking about that Mexico was going to join too, and that they were in talks with the Russians. So can you hear me?
Khan. Yeah, I can hear you, Khan. I'm just trying to find it. So let me show this real quick. Right, you touched on to it, Jaime, but let's play the video real quick.
Or Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, is a group of 5 leading emerging economies. BRICS emerged in 2001 as BRIC and was later joined by South Africa in 2010. The group became a formal geopolitical entity from 2009 onwards, with summits and coordination of policies. The BRICS countries account for around 27% of the world's land surface and approximately 42% of the global population. The grouping is considered a competitor to the G7 bloc, with competing institutions and initiatives in the areas of development economics, financial reserves, currencies, and payments. What is BRICS? BRIC.
So that was just basically explaining what BRICS is, right? But the whole point, right, is that Mexico it's being brought out that allegedly Mexico wants to join BRICS. What do you think that means for us, Jaime?
I think we're going to go through some type of hardship because of the fact that we're Hispanics and that we're Mexico's going to have some type of sanctions or some type of retaliation in order for that not to happen or to prevent it from happening.
Khan. So what Khan, what I was trying to touch on, and no sweat on that, basically touch on is that with BRICS, right? You remember something called the Red Scare? Or learned about something called okay, no sweat. So the Red Scare was the fear America had about communism spreading in America, right? And during the Red Scare, right, a lot of immigrants were getting rounded up and jailed and locked up. So they were probably also getting unalived. And we're talking about immigrants like Italian immigrants. There's 2 famous brothers, right, that got, jailed. I don't know if they were executed, but you had dozens, a lot of people getting arrested and locked up and mistreated. Now that it's brought out that BRICS is going on, right? And then you had this right today. Let's go in the story with Donald Trump real quick. That's not the story I want. I want to see Donald Trump's claim.
President Trump, will you come speak to us? President Trump?
I think he's giving a speech right now.
Now reporting, David Muir.
Good evening. We're coming back on the air for just a short time here after a day of history made in this country. A former president criminally charged, arrested, appearing before the judge. Former President Trump reacting just moments ago, just hours after pleading not guilty himself to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records here in New York. The former president is now back at Mar-a-Lago responding publicly to the charges for the first time. And here's what he said just moments ago.
As it turns out, virtually everybody that has looked at this case, including rhinos and even hardcore Democrats, say there is no crime and that it should never have been brought. Never brought. Even people that aren't big fans have said this is not the right thing to do.
All right, let's go to Rachel Scott, who's in the room in Mar-a-Lago. That is the first reaction to what, again, is an unprecedented day in U.S. history, which is why we're on the air to offer that reaction. We listened in until the moment when he specifically addressed this case, what played out today. And I know, Rachel, you've also been listening to a litany of complaints that he's had before. You'd have to fact check in real time. We're not going to do that now. But in particular relation to this case, to what he went through today, to what we watched unfold today, he made a point of saying to the crowd gathered there in Mar-a-Lago that Alvin Bragg, the district attorney here in Manhattan, he believes is politically motivated and ran on a campaign, he said, to go after the former president.
Exactly, David. He said before Alvin Bragg even took the position as district attorney that he was out to get him from the very beginning. The former president's goal tonight is to put this as purely political. In fact, he called for all of the charges to be dropped immediately. And David, I'm struck by just a remarkable change in tone this is. We saw the former president stoic as he entered and left the courtroom. Well, then within hours of being charged, criminally charged with serious felonies, he entered this room in what honestly feels very much like a campaign style event. He walked the room, shaking hands, waving to supporters as he took his time and made his way.
So what Trump's using, right? He's using this situation to gain more support, right? And gain people to support. Who do you think he wants to support him, Jaime?
I think possibly our people, blacks and Hispanics.
He's got them supporting, but there's a people that he's appealing to. I'm gonna show you.
Good night.
This is an old video, but you see who look. You know they were not there for Michael Brown. That's first and foremost.
You elect Donald Trump in office, he'll change it all. He'll get rid of these clowns. He'll get rid of these people that violate our rights. And we'll have somebody that actually cares about Americans.
Dear Donald Trump, we have been watching you for a long time and what we see is deeply disturbing. We need you to dismantle his campaign and sabotage his brand.
A grand jury in Manhattan has voted to indict former President Donald Trump. We don't know the charges yet as the indictment is sealed. The New York grand jury was looking into a hush money payment in 2016. This makes Trump the first former president to ever face criminal charges. And it isn't the only investigation he's facing. We went to Waco the past weekend, where Trump held his first rally for his 2024 campaign, to find out what his supporters thought of his legal troubles.
2 for $20, Waco rally shirts. I love Trump on the back, says Waco right at the bottom.
It's great to be back in this beautiful and incredible state with thousands of proud, hardworking American patriots.
Are you worried that these criminal investigations could complicate Trump's campaign?
No. I think it's a great thing.
You think it's a great thing?
Yeah. I think it's going to just organize this.
So you saw what he was doing, right? Like what the previous story said, he was there treating it like a campaign. Look at what this oppressor is just saying right now.
Or I mean, honest to God, I think if people see what the Democrats are continuing to do, they see the false narrative, they know it's BS. I mean, if there was really a chance of it going to trial, which it isn't, zero. Read my lips. It ain't going to never go to trial, okay? Trump can show up. They could handcuff him. They could have him stand on his head. It ain't going to make no difference.
But how about this?
2 nights before the rally, Trump lashed out at the prosecutor in the hush money case, posting on Truth Social that a charge against him could result in, quote, death and destruction.
So that's what he's saying, right? He's saying death and destruction. Who do you think they're going to target in that death and destruction? Now, you got this threat of death and destruction. You got these white militias. You got, all this support and love for Donald Trump and his ordeal that he's suffering, right? And then you just had the whole BRICS thing come out, right, about Mexico. What do you think is going to happen, Jaime? Who do you think these oppressors are going to target?
Our people, sir, the Latinos.
Carnal. And you want to know why we're going to be an easy target?
Because we're basically like in their mercy. We want to be close, but they don't want us, so they hate us. So we're going to be easy because we're going to look towards them, and it's going to be easy for them to pick us off.
It's going to be easy for them to pick us off because of the previous video I showed, carnal. It was an old video, right, of what's going on in the streets of Compton, but that still happens today. It's evident with the sister that attacked the street vendors. We're going to be easy targets, and we're going to get picked off so easily because we're not united as that. We're separated. Exactly, carnal. We're separated. We're not together in brotherhood and sisterhood. We don't serve the Most High, so we don't have the Lord with us. He's with the ICPK because they're not going to be able to get us, right? But he's able to get everyone else outside because they're not serving the Lord. They don't have the Lord's protection. You know what I mean? So that's our problem. Like the sister Patarana said, blacks and Hispanics, because we're too busy fighting with one another. Just like before then, when the colonists arrived, when the conquistadors arrived, we are too busy fighting with one another instead of coming together as a people. That's how they're able to pick us off, carnal. You know what I mean? That's the reality of it, man, that we need to understand.
Trump is warned of death and destruction, he said the other day, if he's indicted. What do you think he means by that?
He said what?
He said that there'll be death and destruction.
I don't know. I don't know what he means. That's, I mean, really, some random crap comes out of his mouth all the time.
Does any of that concern you, then?
No.
No.
There are idiots, right? There's idiots everywhere. So
let me say this, Jaime. You know why she says that? Why do we say the oppressors? Right, go ahead, Kana.
It's not going to affect her. That's why it's
right.
That.
Right. It's not going to affect her because she knows she's not going to get targeted. All she has to do is pretend to be a Republican, say she supports them, and they'll leave her alone. But you know who can't hide themselves or protect themselves? You, Raza. You, black man and woman, brown man and woman. You can't hide being black or brown. You can't hide being Mexican, being so-called Hispanic, so-called Latino. You know what I mean? So you're going to be the ones that they're going to come after. But these oppressors can.
Some people will take the words that he says and they will use them and they will take them completely literally.
But you don't think he does it intentionally to incite
No,
violence?
I think it's how language is used. All of a sudden now in the past couple of years, it's since January 6th, basically, they're taking everything so literally as to what everybody says.
It feels like Trump himself is raising the temperature and making threats that his own supporters would turn violent if he's indicted, if he's arrested.
When he says that, I genuinely don't think he's actually trying to incite violence or anger. I just think he's trying to maybe fuel up those people who are working for them, working for the kids, whatever. I think he's trying to like just incite like like more fuel, give more fire to like his campaign. But I don't think he actually means in his comments that like there's gonna be death and destruction. I just think he means like we need to be ready to go. Everybody who supports him needs to be ready to like give their all to his campaign.
So when he says there'll be death and destruction, you're saying he doesn't literally mean death and destruction.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's just more of a metaphor to like get his supporters. Like it's more of like a let's get rallied, let's get hyped, let's get like energized. Like we have to do this now. But I don't think when he says death and destruction by any means is he talking about people actually dying or like property being destroyed. I don't think he means that.
But that's exactly what happened on January 6th.
That is exactly what happened on January 6th. But I would hope, me personally, I would hope that like we can go back to that. But I really think he's trying to get the people energized, saying like, this is our time, this has to happen now. This is what's best for our country. And I think the amount of people here really reflects that.
It probably makes me the most innocent man in the history of our country. Friends of mine say that.
God, that'd be enough for that, man. Khan says, the sister Pataruna said, we can't recognize our true enemy for hating our own people, so our only hope is being in the ISUPK under commanding General Yohana. That's right, sis. That is the solution, right? That we are the solution to this, man. This is what's happening. When we're too busy fighting one another, that's what's happening out there, I mean, look at what Trump wants, man. There's one more video I'm going to play, and then we're going to close out.
Drugs are pouring across our wide open border, stealing hundreds of thousands of beautiful American lives. And it's happening like never before in our history. Children are being left without parents. Families are being ripped apart. Communities are being decimated. Our neighbors and fellow citizens are having their entire worlds destroyed like nobody thought possible. Our country is being poisoned from within by the drugs and by all of the other crime that's taking place. The drug cartels are waging war in America, and it's now time for America to wage war on the cartels. In this war, Joe Biden has sided against.
See, so he's already saying it's time for America to wage war on the cartels, right? That the cartels are waging war on America.
The United States and with the cartels. They are making more money than they've ever made before, times 10. There's never been anything like it. They're major companies. They're bigger than even some of our biggest companies. Biden's open border policies are a deadly betrayal of our nation.
You see how he's a devil. There's an open border policy to Mexicans. I mean, maybe the Ukrainians, but not to Mexicans.
God.
But you see what he's trying to do. He's trying to appeal to a certain group, right? It's not a coincidence I showed you the videos of these white people, these white militias. He's basically telling them to go wage war on Mexicans. That's what he's saying. Of course, he's trying to be passive-aggressive and being, subtle by saying drug cartels, but he's really saying wage war on raza. Because he's saying they're making more money. He doesn't want it. Here's the other part of it, Jaime. He doesn't want us making more money. He doesn't want raza to get money and prosper. He wants his people to make money and prosper. This is why we say the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of.
When I am president, it will be the policy of the United States to take down the cartels, just as we took down ISIS and the ISIS caliphate, and just as, unlike the situation we're in today, we had a very, very strong border, the strongest border, in fact, in the history of our country. And drugs were at a low of 45 years. There's been nothing like what we did just 2 years ago. We will show no mercy, the cartels. Every day, drug traffickers are using the waters of our region to ship their lethal poisons to America, killing so many of our people and ruining families. In addition to restoring strong border security,
So he's talking about families being ruined. Meanwhile, how many kids has he locked up in cages? How many families has he ruined? That's what this is white supremacy right here, carnal. This is what we need to realize and wake up to. And the way you wake up to it, you want Donald Trump to fail and not succeed? Learn to love your carnal as yourself. Learn to love that black brother and sister as yourself. That's how the Lord will be with you and come back. You know what I mean?
Khan out of Khan.
Khan, damn right, David. Proverbs 3:13. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom. Wisdom is brotherhood, man. Serving the Most High. Fearing the Lord. Because these other nations, right, are ready to come after you, Rasa.
I will deploy all necessary military assets, including the U.S. Navy, to impose the full naval embargo on the cartels. I did that before, and it worked. What we did was incredible. We will guarantee that the waters of the Western Hemisphere are not used to traffic illicit drugs to our country. Furthermore, I will order the Department of Defense to make appropriate use of special forces, cyber warfare, and other overt and covert actions to inflict maximum damage on cartel leadership, infrastructure, operations. I will designate the major cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. We will sever their access to global financial systems.
He's plotting all that, right, Jaime? And it's not a coincidence that they recently discovered lithium in Mexico. So you know this devil, right? What he's doing is using that as an excuse to go invade, so he can get the lithium, and saying the Mexicans have more money than us because he wants that. This is what they want. They want to always be the ones with on top and always be the ones in power, man.
That's right.
That's what it is, man. So yeah, y'all too busy out there in the streets fighting each other. Y'all too busy out there tripping on the street vendor. You're too busy, being wicked and disgusting. This is what's happening outside of that, man. I need to wake up, Raza. You need to wake up, as Romans 13:11 said. Now is a high time to wake out of sleep, because this oppressor is ready to mobilize and start coming after you. And the way you wake up is in Carnalismo. And coming to serve your brother, serve the Lord. And by serving the Lord is loving your brother and sister as yourself. Know what I mean, Jaime? That's what we need to realize, man. And with that, man, that's that we had a time, went a little over. Salakia, of course, we started late. We started on Mexican time, Jaime.
God.
Yeah, sabes, carnal. But of course, man, it's always, man, the water for hopping on with me, carnal. Teaching this brotherhood. We gonna keep doing this work, carnal. Now is more important than ever to do this work, man, and be in the UPK. So I invite if you're so-called Black, Hispanic, or Native American, Raza, come up in here, man. Learn the truth and stick to it, man, because there's nothing out there. The only thing waiting for you out there is the white man's militias. That's what's waiting for you. Outside these walls, outside the UPK, is white militias waiting for you, ready to lynch you as soon as they get the chance, to unalive you.
That's right.
So y'all better wisen up, man. Fear the Lord, as the scripture says. Yeah, get in class, more importantly than anything, man. Because who do you think is going to be the easiest target for these oppressors, man? It's going to be you, Latinos, for Trump. You're going to be the first ones they come after. Because y'all's going to be so, y'all got your head so far up the behind of Donald Trump, you don't even see what's coming for you. So, man, that's all I could say, carnal. Now is the time to wake out of sleep. And Carnalismo is the way you do it. But with that concludes tonight's Brotherhood class. You know what I mean? La clase de Carnalismo, where the ISUPK start at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding General Yohana. And of course, tomorrow we got the Wednesday night law class at 7 p.m. We got the scripture breakdown Thursday at 7 p.m. La Shema Chodash Friday, 7 p.m. Tuesday through Friday, we have classes, from 7 to 9. We got our school located in 246 East Highland Avenue in San Bernardino, California. We got the Sabbath service every Saturday at 10 a.m. And then we got, camp at 2 p.m. in Hollywood, in the streets of Hollywood, right across the street from the Jimmy Kimmel Live. You know what I mean? If anybody trying to pull up, you want to, battle us and learn from us, that's where we at, And then lastly, we got our podcast going on. We got One West Radio. And then we got, UPK La Pura Neta podcast, you know what I mean? For we're gonna be out there, we pray to the Lord to open up the internet and the airwaves, right? So that we can get this truth out there. So we can get the message out there to our people to wake up, man. And the way to wake up, like I said, is in brotherhood and sisterhood. But with that, once again, Jaime, I appreciate you cutting off the water for hopping out. Anything you want to drop, Jaime?
Sir, you pretty much said it all. We are just check out La Pura Neta, our classes and our Sabbath service.
Just get in class. And also, more importantly than anything, Jaime, pay your tithes, Raza. Give it to the UPK, man. Sis. Damn right. We're always telling the truth, man. And when it's too late, and when those flying saucers break the sky with our king, man, and that's gonna be Trump thinks, he thinks he's gonna try and stop. You think he's gonna try and stop Christ with the Space Force and all that, man. Y'all oppressors have no idea what's coming for y'all. As Captain Kataza always says, man, your hands are too short to high box with God, man. Big Khan, man. I demand justice for what these oppressors do, man. Before I close the class out, and damn these other nations, man. I pray God rain vengeance on them, for what they've done to us, what they plan to do to us, man. And man, just remember, you should leave. I'm gonna say this before we close out, Jaime. Donald Trump, you should leave the Mexicans out of your mouth. Leave my people and our business out of your goddamn mouth. Try to use us for your agenda. You're going to play with the Lord's people. God's going to have something special in store for you, Mr. White Man. Just remember that. That's it for the class, man. Like I said, man, we here every Tuesday through Friday, 7 to 9, Saturday, 10 to 12, camp 2 p.m. until, man. Ya sabes, raza, aquí estamos. With that, shalom.
Shalom.
Hey, the water says most high in Christ.